Well, hello, everybody. Welcome in once again to another edition of Inside the Lions Den. A bit of a special one here as we talk a little volleyball as head coach Hannah Long reached the 100 win mark at the helm of the Queens Royals the other night inside of the Curry Arena. Of course, no stranger to winning. You're well over 460 wins now as a head coach, but that's always got to be a fun, special milestone, especially being a part of this program for the last 6 years. What are your initial thoughts when you hear about something like that?
Well, my initial thought was I had no idea. I mean, it's not something that I necessarily keep track of.
Sure.
I think as a coach and as a program, we're always just the game ahead of us is the most important, and you never want to look too far ahead of the one that's in front of you. So my first initial thing was, wow, I had no idea that was even close or could be happening anytime soon. So,
well, hey, you know what? That means you're a good coach. You're not thinking about your own numbers. You're thinking about just going out there and winning games, right?
Well, also, I always find it interesting because, I hope I position our team well. I hope I prepare our team well, but I'm not the one that has to execute in the moment. I'm not the one that has to execute the serve. I'm not the one that has to make the defensive play or the important block or kill in the moment. So, those, while it's associated with the coach's record, it's really, attributed to the players that have bought into your system and worked hard to play in your gym. So Absolutely. It's more of a credit to them.
And of course, you've had some great players along the way, not just here at Queens, but of course at Southwestern as well, where you had a lot of success in your time there. But, looking at that match on Tuesday night and a very thrilling match, to say the least, against a very tough bunch in Limestone. I know you had mentioned it to me, maybe their record not indicating the actual team that they are. But you guys, you hung in there, and I made the comment a couple of times in the broadcast, it seemed a lot like a playoff atmosphere. Of course, anytime you go to 5 sets, it is, but what were your reactions and what were you feeling throughout that match?
Well, obviously when you have a 2-0 lead, you don't necessarily expect or want to be in a 5th set after that. But this team has had a lot of 5-setters. And in fact, we've lost 4 of them. And our last 3 5-setters we've lost. And so I think it was oddly important for this team to know that they can execute in a 5th set, that they can, even though they had a lead and they kind of gave it up in overall set scores, that they can kind of grit their teeth and execute in a way that they know they're able to in a 5th set. Because I think maybe we've lost a little bit of that in ourselves, knowing that we could do that. So while you never want to be in a 5th set after you've had a 2-0 lead, I think it was important for our team to recognize that they can come out on top in those moments.
Absolutely. And, obviously kind of a lesson in resiliency, if you will, just trying to make sure you stay in there because, and that's the thing, you're up 2-0, you end up tying 2-2. It's still your match to win. And so I feel like, it's a matter of just trying to stay locked in. And it was nice to see them really just have that bought in atmosphere, because you could tell every single one of them, every time that ball hit the floor, they were more than excited.
Well, I think that's maybe why it felt so, exciting in the moment when we finally did have that last net call on their attack, that no, we can persevere in those moments and, shore up that we have that ability in us.
Well, and, you mentioned the 5-setters you've been a part of, but you guys have played some very tough matches, and you guys have to play some very tough teams. Each year you do, of course, in the South Atlantic Conference, but even your non-conference schedule has been very tough this year. But, with a young group that has come in, sprinkled in, obviously, with people like Brooke Farley and Lindsay Elmore, who have been there the last few years, to this point in the season, where is it that you see this team has led you? And, where are you guys feeling like you are right now in the season?
Well, I think a lot of people point to us as young. And when you hear our starting lineup and you hear 4, sometimes 5 freshmen get called out, you could absolutely point to that. But I don't think our goals or our expectations of ourselves have ever reflected like, oh, we're a young team, it's okay.
Sure.
No, it's not. When you have the talent level and you have the ability level, it's about execution at that point. Our execution has been a little hit and miss at times. I think we see our ability. I think as a team, our moments that we've lacked execution are becoming smaller.
Sure.
And our moments where we are executing well are becoming bigger. A better team in October than we were in September. And so what I've said to our team is if we continue to, with each week, just keep getting better, hopefully we'll be October, November, but we have to stick with that process of getting better every week. And what do we need to get better at this week? And we had that conversation after Tusculum. I thought we hard up at Tusculum, but we had that conversation. Where do we still not have the confidence to perform? And those are the moments that we've been working on this week.
Well, you mentioned it, that match at Tusculum. Of course, Tusculum having an unbelievable year of their own, and they're a very talented team. But I think one thing that stood out to me that you said there was you guys do have an exceptional amount of talent. Whether they're young or not, that doesn't matter. They're just very talented players. And of course, the expectations when you have talented players are always high. And it's nice to hear that it's not like, well, we're young, so if we lose a couple here and there, it is what it is. Obviously, the biggest point of it is going out and getting better each and every day. Let me ask you this in terms of with this team, what has stood out to you in terms of maybe things that kind of have, jumped off the page at you about this team and what they've been able to play like so far this season?
Biggest one is depth. We have a level of depth on this team that I haven't had before at Queens. Sure. I think we've always had strong contributors. But this year, if someone's having a bad game or just not necessarily performing well, we have someone on the bench that can go in and make a difference and change the field game for sure. And I think we're settling into a starting lineup, but sure. We went through all of September where it changed almost week to week. And I really appreciated the fact that when called upon, people go in and execute. It's hard. Maybe if you were a starter and then you weren't a starter and now you are a starter again, sure. That those people have been able to, mentally and physically kind of rise to those challenges and those occasions when maybe we don't have role clarity. Role clarity is really important for teams. It's really important for the overall health and well-being of a team. And we just haven't gotten there because of our depth.
Sure.
And I've really been impressed that our athletes have still been able to perform without that level of role clarity that we usually have.
Well, and you mentioned the depth. I mean, you look up and down the stat sheet and you have 7, 8 people that have a whole bunch of kills on the year. And like you said, it's just a matter of kind of stepping up when someone's having an off day. Someone's got to step up and take care of it. And luckily, I feel like for you guys at this point, that's definitely worked out well. And, another accomplishment for you guys last week was Brooke Farley eclipsing 1,000 assists. I know she's a special player, but, what has she meant to you in this program here over her 4 years?
Well, it's very interesting, that now she's our 5-1 setter. She's completely in control of the offense. She's really a court leader out there. If you look at her history at Queens, she at time has played right back DS for us. Mm-hmm. She was our starting right side as a sophomore. She is just the type of person and the type of player that what you need from me for the betterment of the team, that's what I want to give. And that's what I'm willing to give. And that's what I'll work to give. And, she's this year just kind of watching, especially the last 3 weeks, her kind of take control of the court has been awesome to see. And, just not even as a setter, but defensively and from the service line and even blocking at times, like she really is kind of leading our court in a really positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, you guys are in the midst of a 5-match homestand. Of course, had the first one the other night. Nice to be home and not having to travel for an entire month, I'm sure.
We've had a lot of bus time as a team. Because it wasn't just that we were on the road. It was some long trips. We've been to Tennessee, to 3 different games in Tennessee and up to Virginia and, over to Coker, and we've spent a lot of time in the bus together. So I think while we appreciate the time with our team, we also appreciate the time in the Levine Center, spending time in front of our home crowd.
Absolutely. And I will say, to your credit and to the team's credit, Brooke did tell me that that as a team became a lot stronger because of those long bus rides with karaoke and games and all that kind of stuff. So, you got to have fun with it.
Well, when you spend 4 or 5 hours one way
Oof.
on a bus together, like that's one way. You've got to make the 4-hour trip back too. They sleep a lot though. Hey, rest it. I did have a player ask me, they're like, how long is the bus ride today? And I was like, oh, probably an hour and a half, because we were driving from Wise to Tusculum. And she was like, oh, good, I can finish my paper. So she's got her laptop out on a bus, finishing homework. So
nice.
They work really hard.
I would say they're studious as well. So not just want to take naps. Well, listen, you got to get your naps in now, because when they go out in the real world, that kind of goes by the wayside. So
yeah, adulting.
Yeah, right. Well, Coach, I appreciate you talking with us. Of course, best of luck for the rest of the season. We'll be there along with you throughout the homestand, but you guys got some big matches coming up here. And of course, we'll try to get as many people out to the stands as possible. Always a fun crowd. And like you said, it's always nice to be in front of your home fans in the Levine Center.
Yes, of course.
Thank
you very much.
My pleasure. You have a good day. Congratulations again. For Coach Hanalong, I'm Mike Lennon. Make sure you come back and join us again for another Inside the Lions Den right back here on the Queen Sports Network. Have yourself a great day. And as always, go Royals.